by default, she had to be tough. That's me, my older brother, my younger brother. So I'm the middle. All right, so you're raising 3 boys, South Jamaica Queens. That's a task within itself. Yeah, we had help. I had my grandmother, and I had like, I guess we could say like father figures around, but it's not like my pops, you know what I mean? So in retrospect, now I could look back and be like, damn, my mom was doing a lot. My grandmother would say so she's a caregiver for my grandmother. Then you got to raise 3 boys. My brother got in trouble, so we got to send him to Florida to live with my uncle. So then you working double because you got to take care of the household. So you don't really have time to like just decompress. I can look at it as a parent now, like that's a lot to deal with. You know what I mean? Especially if you don't have the help and everything going on according to what you got to do. So yeah. Growing up, being that my mom had to do a lot of things for the household, I had to figure shit out. It took me a while to get out of the habit of not asking for help. Like it took me a while. Like even now, it's like I'd be a little apprehensive to ask people because I'm like, yo, everybody got their own shit going on. But I only use that resource if I know like it's becoming too overwhelming for me. And I'm like, yo, I need some other type of, even if it's guidance, support, whatever, like I'm like, all right. But I figured out a way, not saying that that's the right way, but I figured out a way like, all right, this is what I need to do and how I need to do it. But the fact that I have support, bro, like it's amazing, bro. I'm not gonna lie, son. Because there be times when I come home from work, I gotta take a call. That's already handled. I feel like as long as you communicate, that's the most important thing. As long as somebody know what you gotta do, and you're not just throwing them like, yo, I get home, take off my clothes, go shower, do what I gotta do, eat, and then I'm not participating. But I feel guilty because I gotta handle what I'm handling for my family, but at the same time, I'm not spending as much time with my child. So then it's like, you got that balance where you gotta figure that out.
A lot of times the parents that we grew up with, they didn't really have a lot of experience or even examples of what like parents, you know, should look like. You know, there's no like clean cut way of how to be a parent, but if you don't have an example of what to do because, you know, they didn't have it either, you're kind of just swinging it. So we have like our issues with like our parents growing up, but it's like, you know, we got to understand they doing this for the first time. Just like, you know, just like we doing this for the first time. Whatever things that they messed up on when they were, you know, they were raising us and, you know, being that they had to work all the time or they didn't have much time to do anything else. You know, they older now, you know, they either they retired or closer to retirement, they got more time. Now they could focus on, all right, you know what? I didn't have time to do this. Not like they're making up for it, but it's like, you know, now they have like, you know, a better experience. Like they have their grandkids. They're like, you know what? I could do all the things that I wasn't able to do with my kid, with their kid. Sometimes the grandparents and your kid end up being like a lot closer.
I literally watched how my mom's body deteriorated over the years, bro. And I'm not saying women are weak or anything like that. I just don't believe women are supposed to be working. Like, I truly don't believe women are supposed to be working like that. I think we should be taking that toll on if we need to for family, right? So seeing my mom work that much for 30-something years, bro. I remember I put a post up. I was like, yo, I want to retire Naima. People were like, yo, you want to control her, da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, I have no idea why I'm saying this, bro. I watched my mom work 30 plus years. 4 a.m., waking up at 4 a.m., not coming back to the crib until 8 p.m. or later. Crazy, I watched my dad or listen to my dad tell me at a young age and tell me multiple times. I don't even know if he remembers this. He would literally tell me, I wish I could retire your mom. I just can't. I will never forget the look on her face, bro. She said something like, man, I'm so tired, I don't want to go into work today. And I looked at her face and I saw how depleted this woman was, bro. Damn. And that's like what
breaks you down.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro.
It does.
That should change me forever, bro. There's a lot of beauty and love in my family, but there's also a lot of dysfunction. And I'm paying close attention to the dysfunction. And the reason why is because I want to make sure that I don't introduce that into my family as well.
Right.
And I think it's important for us to take the lessons from what we see in our family that we don't agree with.
Yes.
Not only taking the lessons in the sense that, okay, this happened and not like we learn from it, but what led up to this? What is the history? Who's involved in these things? What does their life look like? When I really take stock of all the dysfunction, I notice a couple things in my family. There's no male leadership. Also, there's not a lot of thinking around decisions. It's not a lot of critical thinking around decisions. Things are too lax or impulsive.
Nope.
We're not really thinking about the repercussions of what could happen if something happens here. And so I've learned to think critically when it comes to these things. That's why I spend so much time just in self-reflection and really trying to understand stuff. My mom tells me like, you and not even think too much. I said, I have to.
When I walk in some people's spaces, bro, thanks to my therapist, bro, I'll just be literally asking them after, not even judging the room, how you doing mentally? Sometimes, like, it's literally linked to depression.
It is.
When I see that and I go to my, friend's house or anybody random house, and I don't even know you, I'm like, how you doing mentally? If you don't mind, can you give me the long version of that? Instead of like, oh, I'm good or stuff like that. And then once they start breaking that shit down, I'm like, oh, okay. I can understand why this is this.
They might actually be dealing with depression to the point where it's like they don't have the capacity to even think about cleaning their space.
Shit.
Bro, you spend the most time, when you think about it, you actually spend the most time of your life in your room or in your home. So if you're not even cleaning that,
Something's wrong.
something has to be wrong. We can't just say this person is dirty and just chalk it up at that. And people are gonna think I'm joking when I say I really think that's a mental illness, bro.
It is.
Like it has to be some type of mental illness to be in a space that you spend the most time in your life and you don't feel inclined to keep it clean or tidy or anything like that. The moment that I believe that I'm bigger than God,
You're in trouble.
we out of here. The moment that I start thinking that, oh yeah, I built this platform and I just know how to do all this stuff because it's me and I'm just so diligent and I just work so hard and this is all me and I'm great and we out of here.
Might be like that man with the garbage bags.
I'm not playing around with anything God has created, bro.
Nope.
Every chance I get, I let people know, do not idolize me. I'm no one to be idolized. I'm a human being. Don't think you're going to come up to me and I'm going to be on some, oh, I'm better than you. I'm not. Some people see me, I be chilling, bro. They're like, yo, you run this. I be like, yo, bro, I'm just chilling, bro. I'm just be chilling, bro.
They're not expecting that.
I just be chilling. They expect me to be like
famous,
so like caught up with yourself. Like, damn, you should feel like you better. I don't feel like I'm better than nobody. I don't feel like I'm better than anybody, bro, because I'm not.
Right.
If I came from Ghana to the United States and I had the same situations as they did, I probably would have made the same choices. I have a head start right now in the sense that I got to go to therapy. I got to walk 3 blocks to school. I had a bedroom that I could sleep in. My dad didn't have that.
Yeah.
I had water and a shower and all these different kind of things where I didn't have to worry about these things. Yes, we had struggle. Don't get me wrong. But I had a way better life. Again, it goes back to the foundation, bro. The foundation was already laid for me because they had already did what they needed to do to lay that foundation down. So it's like, bro, I can't be upset at, my parents for all these different things that happened because it's like, yo, they did the best they could. So when I think about these situations, it's like I advise them and they're willing to listen. But I always, I try to end those things. When we talk about stuff in the past, I try to end by letting them know, like, yo, bro, y'all did the best y'all could. I understand why y'all made the decision y'all made. I'm just trying to let y'all know why that decision may have led to this response from people in the family.
Right.
But don't demonize yourself because you did the best you could in that situation. And honestly, a lot of people probably would have made the same choice.
Yeah. My mom sacrificed a lot. When I mean a lot, to a point where I didn't even notice that I was poor.
Yeah.
To other kids, like those off-brands, whatever you want to call them, that I had, I still got it. I didn't know how much my mom and my dad was making until I was like, 18? I had to go get my own? And I'm like, you mean to tell me I survived off this? You mean to tell me we was making rent off this? I didn't know this, bro. Yeah. And it's like, okay, they built the foundation, and that's what it made me get so hard into finances, bro, because they don't, like, I kid you not, my dad gave me pushback on finances, but they don't know. They had no guidance. And I didn't know the reason why, this is the part that I want to be vulnerable about. My grandfather died on Christmas, bro. When I was born and I was supposed to go see him, my grandfather died, bro, on Christmas. Christmas Eve or Christmas, one of those. I always asked my dad if he ever had guidance, and he never really wanted to speak about it. So then I go to my mom, like, I never met Grandpa. Do you know him? Your grandfather not even on her birth certificate. His name not there. No, she was joking. I saw grandma's name. I said, okay, cool. Clearly, who's the other person? Wasn't even there. And the reason why I want to be vulnerable, because it's like, I believe that both of my parents didn't have the male guidance that they needed in their life. And it's kind of giving me chills. It's like maybe they trauma bonded off that.
Black man, if you want to change your outcome and what your future looks like, it starts with you. You got to be the first person to take responsibility for what's around you and create that future for yourself.
Black man, if you want to be a leader in your family, you have to be willing to submit as well. Leaders also serve who they lead.
Black man, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, but you matter. Your presence is valuable. Your future is worth fighting for. You are loved. I need you to keep pushing through. Things are only temporary. We love you.